Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another weekly live stream. Tonight we're going to be working on error handling. Trying to get a little better at collecting errors than pop-ups that happen and making people hunt for logs. Though ultimately, hunting for logs is still the best way to get full info. Hopefully we can do something a little nicer before we get too far. Let's thank the patrons. You guys keep the lights on, so thanks for that. And so without too much more preamble, let's go ahead and get started. Here's me up in the corner. Let's see, well, how do I get the docs chat? There it is. Got itchy head tonight. Itchy head to go with itchy nose. Alright, once again, up in the upper left is where you can download the game. If you put that in, put that password in, you can join the Discord and download the game. The Discord's also a convenient way to get me errors if you have them. And there's the chat. Look at that. Okay. I've got the game up to show some of the stuff I did. So, hey Max, how's it going? So there's this bug with these shadows that poke through the thing. In game I haven't been able to figure them out, why some objects do that and some objects don't. So what I did was I added the ability for client-side mods to add client-side shell commands, and then I added a client-side command that lets me pick if I know what the entity ID is, I can dump its model to disk. And so I've done that. I dumped these models, but it's kind of cool. So for those of you who don't know, tilde help gets you the commands that run on the back end. So if you were on a client server, those are the ones that run on the server. And then slash help will show you the commands that run locally. And some of them get passed through, but so if you want your own stats, you can do ping and you know what your stats are to the server. Yeah, there's record and playback and stuff. If for when I used to cut comparison videos between different things. But the new one is dump, and if you pass it an entity ID, then it will dump that as a model that I can load in something else. So I had, let's see. Oh yeah. So I added this to there's a little tool chain that I have that lets me just run Groovy scripts in a simple scene, and so I added it to that just to see. Well, it's going to take a minute to load, ain't it? Because it hasn't run recently. Gradle's got to build all the things while we're streaming and running the game. So welcome to the live stream, those of you who've just joined. Wow. Yeah, so I have this little test app that I can use to test different settings and things. And so in here, if I turn on the drop shadows, you can see that you can see that particular object's shadow. Let me turn up the intensity and you'll see what I'm talking about. You can see that particular object's shadow through these chests, but the other way is not true. I can't see the chests, I can't see this chest's shadows through this chest. So they're working correctly and this object is not for some reason. And so having it in an application that runs really quick and I don't have to bring up the whole game means that it will oh, we're getting a bunch of redacted messages. Message retracted. Oh, you posted something and retracted it. So anyway, that little app is useful for when I want to track that down. So that's one of the things I worked on. The other thing, at the suggestion of one of the players, I added the ability to do So there was always this warp command you could do. So there was the mark command, which showed you you could basically set marks to different places in the world and then warp there. And so then there was the warp command, which allowed you to warp. And if you want to do hashtag, warp to something, you could warp there. But at a player's suggestion on the Discord, I made warp. If you don't put arguments in, it will pop up a dialog with the list of warp locations. So if I wanted to jump over to, let's go spawn tower because it's not too far away. If I want to jump over to the spawn tower, hey, Zerdius. Good evening, everyone. Let me move this up here so I can still see everything. How come it's sharper? Which is sharper? So anyway, this took me to the spawn tower. If I ran... Yeah. And so then if I do it again, I can jump back to the haunted house. It takes it a second to load those. So if I jump back here, I can jump back to the haunted house. So that's kind of cool. Eventually, there's going to be in-game mechanics for warping around. These grids are part of my debugging stuff, so it's been good. Thanks for asking. I was talking about the shadows. The drop shadow of the rail is sharp, but the one in the chest is soft. It has to do with yeah, I mean, that's part of the bug, right? So let me go ahead and exit out of this, and we'll talk about that for a second, and then I'll go over a list of things I want to deal with in the game tonight, which is air handling. But in here, that's part of the bug. What happens is the drop shadows... I do not, Xerneas, I do not know who you are in real life. If I'm supposed to recognize you, I apologize. But Max mentions the fact that this is darker and crisper is part of the problem. But what happens is, what's really going on is there's a sort of invisible box that's rendered that has a I don't know what your YouTube name used to be. Do you know? I'm not sure what your YouTube name used to be. But so basically, it takes the bounding box of... Oh, Cassidy. Hi, Cassidy. It takes the bounding box, offsets it down, and then renders kind of a... I guess it's an egg shape of the shadow. Dark in the middle, light on the outside of this oval shape. In fact, you can turn on this debug box and you can see these are the boxes that it's rendering. The other thing is, I'm not sure why the treasure chest has 3 boxes for its body. I probably made it out of multiple objects, but I don't know why it has 3 separate ones. Could be material related. At any rate, so this is showing sort of the in 3D space box in which that gray egg is superimposed on anything it intersects. And so there's some shader logic going on there that only draws it on the visible surfaces and so on and so forth. But that's why the drop shadows work like they do. And so I think what's happening with this one is somehow the math gets messed up for some types of shapes. The math gets messed up, and that's why it's rendering over top of everything, because it thinks that this is inside the box for some reason, even though the box itself is clearly correct. Everything is rendered in the correct order. there's some math in the shader that's messed up. And so that's one of the things I'll end up debugging soon. Nice. Coding is fun. So what we're going to work on tonight is error handling. I'm sure many of you have seen the classic checked exceptions suck dialogue, and some have even sent me errors. Unfortunately, I don't have any great ones to, this is, though the only examples that I have turn out to be good examples of really difficult errors to handle. And so I'm trying to think of, because really the checked exceptions suck dialogue that pops up happens way after the actual error. Basically, there was an error in the background and everything's shutting down and you get this weird error. But at any rate, I need to unwrap that exception better so that the error message presented is better. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get a whole lot of visitors to the streams at this point, so I remember most of you, at least a little bit. So I have made a list of things I want to try to tackle tonight. One is error handling. So better error dialog pop-up for uncaught exceptions. That's what those checked exceptions suck methods. So Java makes you catch exceptions in some cases. They're called checked exceptions. You have to put a try-catch around them. And in those cases, many times when I don't ever expect an exception to happen there, I will wrap it in a runtime exception and use that checked exceptions suck message. And so when you see one of those pop up, it's an error I never expected. It's in a section of code that I never expected an error to happen, but obviously the error happened anyway. But that's what the checked exceptions suck means, because ever since the beginning, that's one thing that's really annoyed me about Java. It forces me to catch exceptions when all I'm going to do is wrap them and throw them again. It's very annoying. Oh, cool. What's the game like? What kind of game? The other thing I'll mention is that on Monday night I got Baldur's Gate 3, and I was actually able to start playing it on Wednesday. So I've been still trying to put an hour or two in Mythruna every night, but there's always that draw to play a little Baldur's Gate 3. It's a good game. Okay, so better error handling dialog pop. So basically, I don't want to just show the one exception. I want to open world game. Cool. Yeah, those are big projects, open world games. So I want to show the full error information, if not just the stack trace, at least unwrap the root cause exceptions and show their messages. And then have it like a separate tab where I can show the full stack trace. But in a lot of cases we see that pop up. The error actually happened earlier. So I want to do some kind of trace back in the log to capture the original errors so that essentially I can put together a report that could be copied to the clipboard and someone could paste it somewhere and it would have like as much relevant information as I could gather. Obviously the log is going to be the best for me because it has a bunch of other information in it, but at least if I can get exceptions I can get started. The other thing, and this is one I noticed, I've noticed before and it scares me, it doesn't happen often. I started this game in 2011, but to be fair, in 2012 my wife's brain cancer came back, and so that took a lot of my time, and so development slowed way down starting in 2012. And then I was kept working on it all that time, but only in little bits here and there. So the other thing is, I've noticed that one of the cases that happens is where we get like network errors, like in this case. Earlier on, we had some kind of network error that killed the network connection. You can see, this is a log somebody sent me. They were rapid flying around, and it caused a zone error deep down in the network syncing code. That's not errors are going to happen. You've got to expect them. But you can see it happen, and then everything starts to shut down. You can see network state stopped, game client stopped, and then it's way later that the actual checked exceptions suck message comes. Like here we're starting to get errors that we can't write because now there's no networking layer. And eventually somewhere down the way you get one of the checked exceptions suck messages that pop up. And that's just because something tried to write to the network client and couldn't. Yeah, so here somebody tried, the player tried to move the mouse or move and then it failed. But this is, so I do want to modify the dialog so that if it finds one of these, it unwraps it and turns it into, one of these. But that's also not a helpful message because the real error, happened way back here. And so I want to like parse the logs and find these, errors and their stack traces and build kind of a report. Oh yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that before. But the other thing, when I was trying to find a way to force this kind of error to happen, and what I ended up doing is adding what JMonkey Engine has these app states, which are a way to add behavior to the application. So, anyway, we're in the process of trying to cause one of these errors that caused that pop-up. I found some other things that are disconcerting, and one of them was something I suspected was happening for a while, and that sometimes the game itself doesn't shut down and it'll just leave itself running as a zombie. And I think some of the problems people have may be when they go to start the game, there's maybe one or two of them still running from the last time it crashed. So, and I thought maybe in that dialog to put like a monitor thread, but I'm thinking of anytime the application shuts down, it's probably a good idea to make a application closing pop up with a thread that monitors all the other threads to see when they shut down, and then finally lets the UI thread go. But anyway, so when I find these errors that cause these pop-ups and go through the traceback and find them, I want to fix them. And so I know like network errors are one of the things I'm not handling very well. I found out that JMonkey Engine's app in queue, if one of those throws an error, it just goes on, and there's a lot that potentially happens there. I probably need to also check the make sure worker pool errors bubble properly. Yep. That's why logs are helpful, because I can usually trace what they were doing. The other thing is, I think, like, I want to double check how many worker threads I'm creating, because I think some people have a problem where it really bogs down their system. I thought I was setting it to 50% of the CPUs, but I need to check to see if I'm actually hard coding it. And I maybe add options in the settings to before the game starts to be able to set that up. We got 5 on right now. It's an interesting topic. So let's get into the game for a second. I need to turn that grid off. Oh, it's dark outside. Let's make it a little lighter. Come on. Come on. I definitely need to set the thread count down. That's why I think I've hard-coded it, and so for some people it's going to kill their boxes if they don't have like 8 CPUs or whatever. Okay, so... yeah. Logs are important. In fact, Mythruna will save them. So not only does it have the log that's being created right now, the Mythruna client.log, but it archives all of them into a logs directory, which at some point is going to have to start cleaning out the old ones because they're quite sizable. But that means if a player had an error and they start the game again, it is still possible to go back and see those old logs and get a copy of them. They're also pre-zipped, which is kind of nice. Okay, so what was I doing? I was showing the error stuff. So I added the command to start to cause an error. So it's just basically the error command. And what it does is it adds a app state to JMonkey Engine that throws an exception. This is the real error. And so I wanted to use this to kind of cause that, because apparently this did not work, which is a problem on its own, which I'm going to have to fix, and that's one of the list items in my list. I think if I ran something on one of the worker threads, it might similarly, like one of the job threads. But this does kill the application if I come in here and I say error. We get this pop-up. This is the one. It's not a checked exception socket error, but it's, you know, similar, right? But if I click OK, well, I did this before and I clicked OK, and the application did not shut down. It said that one of the states was still running, and I was hoping that was going to be consistent because I really wanted to be able to test that. Well, I mean, I can always add something that forces the application to stay open. But anyway, yeah, so I just need to make sure, no matter what, if you've closed the application for some reason, after 30 seconds or 60 seconds, it should force shut down if it's still running, regardless of the state of the threads shutting down and so on. Nice. So I think first we're going to dive into just starting to add a better error dialog. I do also really want to parse logs, but JMonkey Engine will call your application like a handle error method, and I just don't think I've overridden that at all. Whatever your main application is, like simple application, the JMonkey Engine class has a handle error method. If we go and look at the Java docs, what do I want? I want application. Sapping my motivation. I don't think it's at this level. It would be, let's see, does legacy application have the handle? Yeah, handle error. So I can actually handle the error. I'm going to see what JMonkey Engine does for that particular method by default. For a wand name, yeah, so JMonkey Engine will by default handle the error and call stop. And that's okay with me. But I'm going to override this behavior. I'm still going to call the stop. That's what I meant. This part's okay. But I'm going to override this to do more things. And so in here, we will make our own error dialog. And so you get to see me write swing code tonight. I think we're going to make it a real window, because I think what happens sometimes, so when that error happened before and it had the pop-up with the exception message in it, there was no icon in my start bar, and so I think that sometimes that window gets lost. And even though nothing's happening, the game is still running because that dialogue is still open. Warlock wand. I mean, it kind of depends on what your game's about and stuff, right? And a lot of times the names can be delayed. You can call it wand 1 until you get far enough along where the name becomes obvious. So let's make an error. I'm going to call it an error dialogue, but it's not going to be a dialogue. Error dialogue. So let's see how much swing development I remember. Client. Import javax.swing.star. Yeah. Extend this JFrame. Public error dialog. String error. Throwable T. And then set, Mythruna error. Terminal. Anyway, severe error, and then set dispose on close. Now I have to like. That's too deep in my memory. So let's look up JFrame. HCC taking people. Oh, the other thing I did, we fixed a bunch of things last week, and I continued and I like put all those to bed. So I got like a lot of the performance stuff worked out. There's still obviously some things to do, but I wrapped up most of. Oh, okay, I mean, I guess I didn't fix these two things, but I definitely did fix all that stuff and some more things we found. What's my master list say? I added a bunch of. Yeah, so I did all these things recently, and some things I still need to get to. Yeah, old Mythruna, you could actually type a dot and it would repeat the last command. And if you've typed a big long text message, that's kind of annoying to players. But I think for commands it's really useful sometimes, especially for me. So I may add that ability back in to just dot enter and have it do the last command. Maybe if it's not a say, it'll just do it again. Yeah, talking about hacking, that when I first put the original Mythruna version out, I've talked about this before, and opened up my server to the world, we started to get a lot of players, and so I spent a good deal of my time managing my server and just, keeping the griefers at bay. Anyway, what were we doing? We were doing this, and we were looking over here because I'm trying to remember it's like not, I don't want dispose on close, I want exit on close, yeah. Exit on close, which will like do a system exit. And for the moment, we'll set size 640 by 480. If you are still running a screen smaller than 640 by 480, I feel bad for you. Okay. And then I think you can do, there's like set location relative to, again, I haven't done swing development in a really long time. What is it? Set location relative to, and I think if you pass it null, if the component's null, in the center of the screen. Yep, I was right. Set location relative to null. We're going to want to put some things in our window. What do we want to do? At least in, okay, well this is fine for an initial version, and so in here we will say okay, enjoy working on your game. Error dialog equals new error dialog. Really, I should have like a factory method because anyway, because then I could show it all at the same time. Set dialog, set visible, true, stop. I think this will work. There's potentially a way I could get to this quicker without having to start the, yeah, maybe just throw an exception here. Failing your app. Okay, Gradle run. So we don't have, shouldn't have to get into the whole game before that pops up. Set set default. Oh yeah. Default close operation. The constant is dispose on close. I knew what I meant. Alrighty, come on. You can do it. Yeah, so when Gradle takes a long time, I get concerned that there's something going on with the operating system. Should die right away. Yep, okay, so we've got my dialogue popping up and it doesn't have anything in it yet. But it is something. Okay, so now we will make it, and when we close it, it closes. Okay. So we will build some contents. We want to JPanel. The thing is, like Lemur, which is my UI toolkit for JMonkey Engine, I based it kind of on swing patterns, but I streamlined the APIs a lot, so this is going to be a little painful. I think, is it set layout? JPanel. Yeah, there was a time when if you took somebody with an IDE and like one of those UI builders, that I could throw together a simple, you know, name property style panel almost as fast as someone else could draw that in their UI builder. But now I'm having to like remember a lot of stuff. So I think it's set layout. Container, set layout, and then layout manager. We want to simplify our lives, we want the box layout. Yeah, so set layout, new box layout. Not box layout, border layout. Yeah, I should have known. I have like the syntax highlighting set up from back in the Java days, so it's not box layout we want, it's border layout. And then, yeah, so there's the example right there. But what we'll do is down at the bottom, we'll have like a button panel, panel, buttons. You could do this all in one layout, but I'm lazy, and this is how I would do it in Lemur anyway. Oh yeah. I miss Lemur already. So I think it's just add. Let's go back to container. Add, yeah, just add. The Swing API inherits from the AWT API, and they were really kind of cryptic. Not add child or just anything like that, just add. And we want to say, I think they take constraints. Just any old constraints. Add. Yeah. See, it's just so many add methods and they're all overloaded. I would never write an API this way today. So I think south, and then is it JTab? Tabbed pane or tab pane? JTabbed pane. JTabbed pane. Contents. Add tabs. Center. And then so buttons, we want to add a button. New JButton. Close. It's not going to close, but it'll be there. And so let's say build contents. And when we have the contents, we want to get content pane, add contents, which I think automatically adds it to the center. But we are about to see. Oh, yes. So that's the, I didn't bring AWT into it. Is it just in AWT? In the ancient days, Java did not distinguish packages very well. Oh, duh. So, yeah. And so, like, they have packages with, 100 classes in them. So if we start it up, it should die right away. We see what our UI looks like. Okay, so we've got no tabs in our tab pane, but we do have a close button that doesn't do anything. So we're good there. And we need to add some tabs. But it's starting to look like a thing. And what does dispose on close actually do? Anyway, a JButton can take an action, or does it require a separate? I think JButton can just take an action. Yeah. Okay. I liked actions. Actions were cool. So there's like a default action or abstract action. What does it make me implement? Action performed. Okay. So yeah, so we can say new abstract action close. at override action performed. Performed. They didn't link it here, so I gotta go back. Blah, 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 blah. Action performed. That's the one I want. Okay, action event. I should have known. Okay. So if we do that, then we call system exit 0. Actually, we'll call it system exit -1. And then to the tab pane, we want to add at least one tab. What is the API for that? Well, we can give you an example right here. So let's make a JEditor pane. Is it JText pane? Which one's? I think JEditor pane's the one I want, and I can make it read only. And then add tab error got that editor pane. Yeah, I did spell it correctly. Yeah, I think it's editor pane I want. Oh, there's a JText pane too, but I think the editor pane works out better. If memory serves, it's easier to select and cut and paste the stuff, and I just make it read only. Where can I set read only? Set editable false, that's what it is. Editable false. Does JEditor pane take a string on the constructor? It does. So that means we can also probably just call set text. Yeah, okay. So string, well, I think that Guava has like a throwables. Get stack trace as string. Yeah, nice. Guava. One of the best free things Google ever did for me. Alright, so we should be able to say error set text throwables get stack trace as string, get stack trace as string. I don't know if it's going to include the messages, so that's why we're going to try this. Private string error, private throwable. Okay, throwable. Let's see what that does. I think it's Java ADVT event, yeah. So sometimes they would put things in different packages. Alright, let's try again. Boink. Yeah, so, yep. gives the whole stack trace. So this would be like the error details. And then I want to change this exception test to have more. I think if an exception, I can force it to fill in the stack trace. Yeah, fill in stack trace. Okay, so we will have throwable nested 1 equals, well, I'm new runtime. Let's do, what do I have imported here? Yeah, so it's new illegal state exception, deeply nested, and then throwable nested 1 equals new runtime exception, framework error, just, you know, nested 2, and then we'll call this nested 1. And so now let's just make sure it's properly unwinding all of those. Yep. So that's the error details. So then let us go here, and so we're going to have 2 of these. We're going to have stack and I should have anyway, JEditor pane errors. Yeah, I should have just left it right. Error set editable, because I'm going to retype everything I had. Tabs, add tab, error. And then for this one, string builder, SB new string builder. I think that the guava thing gives us a get causal chain, yeah. So that's cool, because what we can do is for throwable t equals throwables. Oops, not that. Throwables get causal chain. Throwable. I think it gives us gives throwable chain is first entry. This is will be throwable followed by its cause hierarchy. Note that this is a snapshot. Yeah. Okay. So we will SB append. I could have probably just done a joiner, but T get class get simple name plus T get message. Oops. SB append. Alright, and then once we're done, error set text SB to string. Alright, so in less than an hour, much less than an hour because I talked a little bit, we should have a decent little error dialog created. Yep, okay, so I probably could like tab them in so that it's a little caused by. I can add little caused bys. I'm failing your app. There was a framework error. It's deeply nested, and then this is the full stack trace. we'll call this actually summary. Actually, I'm gonna, yeah. Skip. Replace. Yeah, because that error, we had already used that field, so I was going to have an issue. I think that if SB length is greater than 0, we will SB append caused by space. And then that should work. There was something else I saw. Yeah, I'm failing your app caused by... I'm going to add a space in there too. Here. And so we could get the stack trace and summary, and we could put additional information in here. I also want to have a whole copy to clipboard button, which may require more swing memory than I have at the moment, but why don't we go ahead and set that up. And then we'll worry about parsing the logs. So let's see if in 8 minutes I can get a copy to clipboard. Yeah, so it even knew when I exited that it was on my system exit -1. So that's cool. Let's see. Java copy text to clipboard. Hey, look at that. Is it easy? Oh, they're telling me every little damn thing. Action performed. Clipboard. Yeah, okay, so it's not too bad. We'll cut paste coding here. Active void error to clipboard. Send error to clipboard. So we will so I'm building this class in a really crappy way because I'm just doing it all in one method and I'm not keeping any of the fields around. I think maybe that's okay. Report. But here's where I should probably have built the report separately from this thing, but it's just convenient. And I'm just testing something right now anyway. Summary, get text. Normally I'd also create a string writer and wrap it in a print writer so I can just do regular print lines and things. Report.append send stack trace /n. This will prove that it's copying a different string to the clipboard than the ones we're seeing on the screen. Report.append stack.getText. So basically appending those two edit boxes together just as a test. And so then here we want clipboard, clip, toolkit. I think these are all in think these are all in the A to T package, and so we should be able to say clip set contents. String selection. That one. What is string selection? That's something they created here, is it not? All right. Well, I'm leaving that now. We'll go to clipboard. Oh boy. Okay. Let's. Oh, I'm looking at Guava. That's why. String selection. I mean, it's clearly Java because I've pink highlighted it, and that's in my editor's stuff. So creates a transferable cape. Okay, and then why? Oh, we just set the contents twice. So toolkit, clipboard. Jumping around, clipboard, set contents to transferable, the clipboard owner. I see. Says the current contents of the clipboard is best for transfer object and registers the specified clipboard owner as the owner of the contents. So transfer and owner can be the same thing. String selection is both a transferable and owner. Okay, gotcha. So we want a string selection data equals new string selection. People probably don't realize, but clipboards are surprisingly complicated things. I recently hit this in day job. We have an application that web application where you can cut and paste from Excel and paste that right into this edit field, and it comes up with a nice formatted thing. And I was running the application in a Linux VM, and it was just coming in as unformatted strings. And that's because the clipboard is complicated. When you cut and paste something from Excel, it's not just the text. It's a fully formatted object that knows how to be interrogated in various different ways. Like you can, if you're Excel also, you can ask it for the fully formatted thing. And so if you cut and paste a section of your table and paste it into another section of your table, it'll pull formatting and formulas, all that stuff, because it knows how to deal with that object. But then some things can ask for an HTML version, which would be like a HTML table. Text editors would ask for the text version, which have the formatted text. And apparently Oracle's VirtualBox, when it's transferring the clipboard data to the application down there, it just turns it into flat text. Yeah, images, yeah. I guess a lot of people don't know that the drag and drop between folders in your file system is also using the clipboard. And so you can do some interesting things with that too. But yeah, it's like surprisingly deep, really. All right, so string s equals sp2 string, just because I don't feel like... oh no, I think I only have to do one. Yeah, okay, I'm fine. I thought I had to do it twice for a second. That's this I have to do twice. Data. So we're by so when we set the contents in the clipboard here, we're setting this transferable, which has all these different ways to interrogate data flavors and so on. And then the clipboard owner, which normally would be sort of the source of the data. Like I guess if you have to stream the data, the clipboard owner can... that's weird. It's just notifying, yes, if you're holding on to some resource while that's in the clipboard, the fact that you lost ownership means that you can get rid of it. It's complicated. I used to do work on a cross-platform application where we were trying to be able to drag things into and out of shared user spaces, and we were making cross-platform versions on Windows and OS2, and had to learn all this stuff. And this was back long time ago, early mid-90s, 1990s. So yeah, it was all Very interesting. Okay, so we need to actually hook up the button. So we will add another button. Copy to clipboard. This button we'll call send error to clipboard. Alright. Probably there's a lambda way I could have avoided. Okay, so clipboard is under a, yeah, it's probably blah blah blah. ADT data transfer, yeah. Yeah, okay, simple. Down and dirty class here. And up, I'm 1 minute over. I was going to try to have that part done. It's not SB, it's report. Not to finish the live stream, but to work on the next thing, right? Which is the tracing back through the logs. Yep, I made that Pepsi last a full hour. Okay, so this is a much better dialogue overall. And if I copy to clipboard, we ought to be able to come over here and paste it in. Look at that. So that means someone who had an error, whatever I end up putting in that report, you know, could join the Discord, go to the bug channel. So those of you who don't know, the Discord, the Mythruna Discord has a bugs channel, and you can go there and you could potentially just paste that in. Testing. Boink. And it would just come in like that. And then I would know what to do with it, or figure out what the next steps would be. So now we've got the dialogue built, and look, I wanted to show you, it shows up in the start bar as its own icon. So even though I didn't close it, it's still there, and we can still look at all the things, and I can add new things as we go, because there could be like a logs or relevant logs button or something there. So we're cooking with gas here. All right, so error dialogue's doing pretty good. Let's see. I think that Guava has a way to read a file. Is it file? To read a file as a bunch of strings. There's a list, but I want to see if it's if it lets so read lines will return streamlines into a line processor. Yeah, that's what I want. Actually, maybe I don't, because I want to keep some state between loops. So maybe we'll just use a buffered reader. So let's make a quick and dirty log parser. And this we'll have... I'll probably move some of this over to SIO2, which is one of my open source gaming libraries. That's the one that's actually published. I'll probably move these over there at some point because they'll be useful utilities. And of course, everybody and their brother has written a log parser of some kind or another. But the error dialogue, I think, could be a useful base if I extend it a little bit. We want this up here. Import java.io.star, and we want to collect. We want a util as well. We want to collect errors. String errors. Alright, so we will indeed log parser input stream in and buffered reader. Yeah. Okay, parse logs reader. Let's say parse. And then so we want to make a factory thing, log parser, parse file f. We want this to be as resilient as possible as far as generating errors. Actually, we're just gonna do this. Throw. Nope, this is one of those cases where I am going to use a checked exception. So file input stream. Oh, buffered reader won't take a reader. It will only take. Yeah. So we will do this buffered reader in. We'll do all the setup externally. That's interesting. So there's probably no reason to actually have, in fact, yeah, I'll just make a parse buffered reader. I like designing as I go, right? So you can create one of these things and then you can just call parse however you like. And that means this can also be just like this. And so what we want is we want a file input stream fn equals new file input stream f, and then input stream reader n equals new input stream reader try. So it'll automatically close that fn, and then it's an fn reader, man. I think it's standard char sets, yeah, which I'm glad Java finally added. So standard char sets, and then parse in. And this could be public too. Maybe somebody already has a yeah. Going to need this. Alright, and so then in here we want, I know I'm going to need regex too. Who speaks regex natively? I speak it conversationally. String line equals null while line equals n.read line. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent. I'm thinking I probably want this to run in the background and show progress. Yes, yeah, exactly. So let's say consumer. Wait, this trying I think that Java has an accumulator class. Am I misremembering? I don't know if it's in the functions though. No. But like, I feel like atomic integer has a... Nope, I'm just wrong. Could have been something I did for one of my things. Anyway. I'm trying to think how best to get progress without bogging down the reading. But anyway, we'll worry about that later. So a log line looks like this. But the size of this varies depending on yes, we have to be careful. And how we parse this. And so I think I'm going to first of all, I think I want these to be string builders. Do I? So we get a line, and what I'm thinking of, string builder, when I'm collecting stack traces, last section equals new is null. Okay. So like, what I want to have happen is if I see lines with indentations, then I know that's a stack trace being dumped out to the thing, and I'm going to add that to the, what do we have, a log in here? Yep, okay, so so before we do runtime exception test equals, oh, I needed to fill in the stack traces on these. I guess it did though. Log error testing test and then throw test. Okay, so yeah, I think we can still run. I want to show you what a stack trace looks like. Okay, I messed something up. Oh, throw instead of throws. Took me a hot minute to find. Boo. Oh, for one thing, that's a warning, but we'll get rid of the warning anyway. Parse in. Oh, yeah. New. Okay. Oh, yeah. I meant I also said, well, read line is not equal to null. All right. Okay. Yeah, so like the main thing tonight is for all those weird errors that happen, I want to make sure to be able to capture them. And then I also want to go back and do better error handling for all the weird errors. But I kind of almost have to wait till you guys report them. Yeah, so anything that doesn't start like this is potentially a stack trace. Or something that goes with the previous line. So we want a pattern log pattern. Now here's a really cool trick. There's this program called regex coach, which I highly recommend. So you can come in here and you can put your string that you want to parse, and so we can say like and it'll show you, like, as you're typing what you're capturing. I actually wonder if that format is, I'm hoping it's not locale based, but you know what, we actually could be smarter and colon comma plus, yeah, see, then we have always some white space, but sometimes it's only, okay, so we have white space with one space, and we can actually just do it. It is a space, and it always will be a space. And we will have a context. No, I want to put parentheses dot. We want it to be a what is the, is it at the end? Yeah. So if I do this, it's going to take the whole, yeah. So this is the reluctant qualifier. So if I put a space here, it's going to take. So anyway, while it's going like this, you can see what the next selection would be, what it would find. And actually, if we make it multi-line, then we ought to be able to say, what is it, the beginning is like this, and so now it will only find individual lines. And since we're only going to be parsing a line at a time, it actually doesn't matter for us, but to make it work right in here, I'll set multi-line. Okay, so we've got that, and we've got it as a captured group, which is kind of cool. And so then it'll be a space, and it'll be another captured group, and this one is going to be dot plus, and then another space, and then we also want that to be reluctant. And that, there's apparently something else that can go between those, or I've just is that just a no, there's two. Oh, it's because it's formatted. Yeah, so we will make this plus, and that will help us detect the whole line, dot star. Okay, so as long as that matches, we've got a full log line. And so we can come over here and put this in our pattern, and we've got to go double escape all of the weird things like that. Okay. And then matcher m equals log pattern. So I mean, I could have just looked for errors, but I want to capture all the log lines and then call out the errors if I can. Matcher line, if m matches, then let's just log it for a second. That's gonna be fun. Log. line, else append. I just want to double check that things are working. Okay. And then we can start hooking it up. And so parse logs. Yeah, because eventually we're going to parse the logs in the background. Because these log files could be quite big by the time we do this. Log parser, new log parser, parse, new file, Mythruna, Mythruna dash client dot log. Catch. Log error parsing log file, which no one will ever see unless they look at the log file. Import java.io.star. And I actually could have built some of that right into the thing. So let's just see what it does. Let's just get it to compile. Missing parenthesis. Okay. Boy, according to the stats here, 4 of you are still very interested in log parsing. Okay, so it should be dump. Ruh-roh. It ran away. Or it was just going really slow, parsing the whole thing. It's a certified oops. Yeah, so something is... Oh, we're reading the log file as we're writing to it, because I've got because I'm logging to it. We are never going to finish. We're seeing our own logs, right? I think that's what it is, right? Yeah, log parser log. We're seeing our own logs over and over and over again, and it's nested, and that's why it's getting bigger, or it got to a certain size and it's repeating. That's my theory anyway. So let's turn these into system out print lines. Important safety note. Do not write to the log file while you're reading from it. One could argue that when we get into the error situation, we should copy it off anyway. Yeah, log. Append all the exception information, so that's what we want. And testing. Okay, so we did log originally there too. That's nice. Oh yeah, I did that testing. Oh yeah, I'm parsing it here. This is the output from parsing. Okay, so that's all working. I had a thought back there, but maybe it's not important. Okay, so last section. So we ought to be able to, let's see, count the groups. You can see, so we've got a group 1 and group 2. Group 1 is, like if we go to here, group 1 is that context value, the log context, and group 2 is the Yeah, a log file could be huge. So I really need to go through it. That's why I'm going to do it in a background thread. It should be quick for most cases, and if not, at least it's in a background thread, and if they decide they don't want to wait, they can shut the application down. But that does mean maybe I want to give them the data as I find it. That could be neat. So if group 2 is error, so if error equals m group 2, then we will set last section equal to new string builder line, else last section equals null, and add errors, add last section. That's the thing, is we won't know. We could do it. And so in this case, if last section is not equal to null, last section dot append /n plus line. So then we want to be able to list string get errors, and then list string results. I'm not familiar enough with the new streams API to do it without IDE assistance. With the little pop-ups, results dot add sb2 string return results. Also, I find when I come across somebody else's code, like a day job, where they've like created this really long streams dot this dot that dot that dot that, and I just want to add some logging or add some new behavior, and it's really difficult to reorganize it sometimes, to add a couple more lines of code in there into one of those Lambda blocks. So I'm on the fence about whether I'm a fan. Sometimes when it's simple, it seems useful, but other times I find it painful as well. Okay, so we got dot. So then let's just, for testing purposes, log error. This is a single line error. Excuse me. Yeah, we could parse that log line further if we wanted to. So we got all that stuff. Parse log files, then we will add that to our, well, okay, so we're going to make a private j editor pane log report equals new j editor pane, and we will add, oh yeah, I should create it down here. Since I'm going to be setting things up about it. Raw report set editable false. Although maybe this one, no. I was going to say maybe it would be cool to edit it. Error logs. Log report. I'll just leave that. Okay, for now, if we parse logs first for the moment. Oh no. Okay, so we will. Yeah, I'll go ahead and set this up. Log report. Set text. Loading. And then in here, if we're successful, log report set text new joiner, or is it, do I create a joiner or is it got a factory method? IJK joiner join, yeah, joiner on joiner on, yeah, joiner on in connecting. You guys still here? Alright, let's see what the live stream is doing over here. Yeah, coming back. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, for whatever reason, okay, it's doing it again. The file system hung, and or something. The OS hung, and I couldn't even type in my editor, which is always good. Very makes me feel very good about everything. Yeah, just tune in for the crash. We'll see. It's all your fault, Ron. All right, let's see if we're parsing error logs now. Oops. REMS. Okay. I missed a parenthesis. I'm doing all kinds of coding from memory tonight. JEditor pane. Used to have the swing things as well. So what else did it complain about? Joiner, oh, of course. I haven't imported joiner. Nice. Somebody asked on Facebook, Tyson or Paul, and I was like, well, I could go for some fish, so Mrs. Paul sounds pretty good, but I'll probably eat Tyson, because chicken. It's like purposely taking things out of context. I only touched on the fact that I bought Baldur's Gate and started playing it. I'm trying to treat it like D&D sessions where I consider stopping it every time I have to do a full rest. Last night I played for several hours and never did a full rest. Okay, cool. So we've got this. Let's see what the error log is loading. Oh, I never set it. So, but I'm having fun with Baldur's Gate so far. I do find that I need to remember to save more often because I went through this whole section and then I found this secret door and I went through it and I got killed, like a whole party killed, right? Like right away. And had not saved in a while. And so when it took me back to the autosave, I had to go talk to people again and do all the same. I didn't want to change my conversation options, so I did all the same conversation options. Of course, my dice rolls weren't as good, so I had to save and load a couple times because I didn't get all the same perception checks and stuff. So I got to just remember to save quite often. I miss a quick save button. Okay, why did the parser get errors join? Did we not find any errors? Let's just real quickly system out print line errors. Maybe there is something I did wrong. Anyway, I'm playing a sorcerer build. I'm having fun with it so far. I'm a little disappointed. Like all my other characters get to conjure familiars, but I don't get to conjure a familiar yet. So apparently, it's never invoking this code. Parse logs. Parse. Oh, I took it out and then I didn't put it back. I went to move it, deleted it. Psh, again, live stream brain. Is the stream still working? Like paranoid at this point. Let's see. Yes, I'm still typing up there. It ran the thing. Wow, it's like this stream is way delayed. Yeah, okay, so that's where that's me doing its thing. Okay, so it did the thing, error logs. Okay, so we didn't get any logs. The Y errors. So the parser's messing up now for some reason. Oh. System out print line log group or type and group 2. Alright, let's try this. So something's going on with my regex and it's not matching that error. I bet that's what's happening. Okay. Type JME3. Oh, yeah, so we're pulling the wrong thing, or the regex is not working correctly. Because it's getting... Oh. Did I really do that? That's what I did. I based it on the... Yeah. Poop. I based it on the format in the console output and not the format of the log itself. So gotta do like this. Use this as my test. My test string. Yeah, so that's gotta all be smarter. And that's going to be tricky. There will always be brackets. So this is the log context. We get something else in here. This is going to be the thread. But then right after this, we're going to get a bracket. But I need... Okay, and this is not a dot, but a word. Yeah. So, whatever time you spend investing in learning regex is probably worth it. So, like if we go to the next line, so now group 1 will be, the log context, and then group 2 will be the thread, and group 3 will be whatever type of log it is, error, warning, whatever, info. Okay, so then we want to steal this, and I can explain why. If you work back from the end, so as soon as we see this bracket, we know there's going to be some amount of white space. That's the /s plus, and then there'll be some amount of words. It's always going to be a word character. In fact, it's always going to be capital letters. I could just do capital A through Z here, but I'll be a little flexible. And so it'll be some word, no white space. That's this error, info, warning, whatever. And then there'll be a space before that, and then there'll be some amount of anything. That's the thread name. And then we go back into formatted space, where we end up with a space followed by some things and a space, and so on. But yeah, regex coach, learning regex, highly recommend. And I gotta go back and put slashes in, extra slashes, slashy slash. Okay, let's try again. I think it's funny, I put together a whole dialogue in the first hour, and then it's going to take me the entire second hour to get the log parsing working right. Error logs. Boink. No, it's still not working. Oh, yeah, I'm pulling up the wrong group. I got to now pull group 3. So we could say NDC, or is it MDC, NDC, whatever. NDC M group 1 plus thread is M group 2 plus type. There we go. Now, while we're dumping garbage, we might as well see all the garbage, right? It should get errors this time. Parsing the logs, parsing the logs, parsing the logs, parsing the logs, parsing the logs. Yay, look at that. And so it found the error in the log that just had a thing, and then it found the error in the log that had stack traces associated with it. It's going to be tremendously helpful. Okay. So now we ought to be able to run a full test. Well, let's make... Okay, so... let's make the background threading part. So we want to do this on a thread. Thread, yeah. New thread. Start. And instead of setting the log report directly, we want to do a swing utilities invoke later. Swing utilities invoke later. Yep. Okay, so that should still work. Let's just... oops. 114. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lambdas. Lambda. Okay, so should have set the error logs up. Yep, And it did that on a background thread, so even if it takes a while, even if I have like a really big log, it will still do its thing. It won't show progress, but that's okay. So now let's take out this test bug. We'll leave that one in there. We'll take this thing out, and we'll let the application actually run and start up. Oh wait, I want to do one more thing. We want to report pinned error up/n error logs string s. Okay, so now I've added all kinds of places for things to go wrong. /n s. So let's see. Did I break things that I'm not going to find until I get into the... We're going to risk it. I'm not going to put the short exception back, so we'll actually have to get in the game and make a real error happen. And this will be a good way to finish up. Uh-oh. Oh no! This is an update, so it's putting it in every iteration. Nice. Alright. Let's try again. Please try again. Alright, so we're running. Just making sure everything's still going okay here. Yeah. So, my older child has played Baldur's Gate and finished it, and so it's interesting to have them come up and like be laughing at the parts that I have yet to discover yet. But one thing is we played completely different characters because she tends to play the tanks, and so she played a tank and I'm playing a squishy sorcerer, so our experiences are bound to be quite different. All right. So we're in the game. It's dark. Got lots of logs doing their logging thing down there. Lots of stuff going on. And so if we come in here and we say error, make the error happen, everything crash, boing. Oh yeah, so I left all that debug logging in, so it's going to take it a while. But so this is, but it already finished, and it didn't find my error. It did find all those, which things I need to fix, especially if I'm going to be dumping all the error logs. But why didn't it find my error? I may not be able to scroll back far enough through here. What I can do is count the log, though. So somewhere back in... Yeah, of course we're going to get a ton of logs. So there was a stack trace back there. Oh, that's one of the... yeah, those are not normal stack. Those are the warning stack traces. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, one of the first things I did when getting off the Nautiloid is go check out that chapel. And the first battle in there kicked my butt. I had to... there's like all the bandits, right? There were like 6 of those guys against my. At the time I only had 3 people in my party, and I ended up. They are behind a door that you can close with a lever, and so I just kept closing the door on them. I'd let a couple of them out, and then I'd close the door on them, and they'd be inside attacking the door. Okay, I need to find where my error happened. Oh yeah. Yeah, I kind of like it though. It definitely reminds me of real D&D and the initial squishy phases. So why did my error not make a log? Oh, I know why. And this is actually kind of fine. Because the error command I added itself doesn't log it. And JMonkey Engine didn't log it because it passed it to me to log. So that's redundant information. But if I wanted to make it look right, I could do like this in my test. I could have left the game running for this part actually. So I can log error. This is on purpose. Porpoise. So we'll try again. So yeah, I just could have left it running because this module reload. I mean, I love the mod support, the reloadable mods. It saves me so much time. And not right now because I didn't leave it running because I wasn't sure what the error was. You know what? Before we do that, let's also turn off this debug output because that was taking up a lot of space as well. But I think we're closing in on a solution which will let me capture errors. Come on, you can do it. Get along, little doggies. Alright. Play the things. Anyway, I'm going to try to cut a release right before Thanksgiving week. Actually, I wanted to cut a release. I'm trying to maybe try to cut a release Monday night. This Monday. Sunday or Monday. Because I want to focus on different things over the Thanksgiving break. I took that week off. Going to try to put in 4 or 5 hours of Mythruna work a day and 4 or 5 hours of Baldur's Gate 3 a day. Alright, so let's make the error happen. Boink. Oh, I couldn't have kept it open anyway because okay, so there's the summary. We got a lot of that is not the real error. But it's telling me all the things. In our unnamed monitor. So now we can look at the error logs. Okay, so we didn't get any better logs. I think what I added to that command caused a different error to happen, and now I'm wondering why. Oh, I really should have left that dialogue up. So here's the thing. I think to be safe, I should log in here as well. Unexpected error. error message T. Because without the full stack trace, and apparently I did not get the full stack trace, I can't see what the actual error was. We had an error back here. Oh no, those the errors were dumped. But let me look at the command real quick and see if there's something I did. Oh well, it won't know about log. So let's just do this. Let's do log error. Just so we see something that it ran this code. And now we should be able to, because we always log the exception, sometimes it'll be redundant, but we should at least always see it. And we'll have to wait again. Loading the world goes quick. Initializing the game modules, I wish it was faster. It's like the more mods I add, the slower this will get. So I may have to do some script consolidation at some point. This goes fast. Zoom. Alright, let's run my error command. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Okay. This is the real error. Okay, so we got the runtime exception. Let's look at the stack trace. Okay, this is the real error. That's the exception we got. And then if we look at the error logs, yep, so we got all the meaningless logs. We got the log from the, and we got the log that I actually output in the test, and then we got the actual exception, full stack trace and everything. And so now if I say copy to clipboard and paste it in here, yeah, so we get the nice little summary, the stack trace, and then all of the error logs that it parsed out. So I think that's pretty useful. I think that's going to be a game changer. One of the things I may also add is copying the log off to like, because I'd almost like to save this as a report. So let me add a to-do list. So save the report to disk, copy with a date, stamped, generated file name, copy the log to match, so that potentially I could even have like a if I wanted to get the whole log, potentially that dialog could even have a button, you know, to make a zip that they could then, you know, upload, so the player could then upload it somewhere. But anyway, this is really a start for me to be able to collect the bugs that you guys report, and actually start getting rid of some of them. You know, I've got several to look through as already, but anytime I want to get this out as soon as possible so that you guys can start sending me bugs so that we can make the experience nicer for everyone. But I think that's where I'm going to end it tonight. Because I've got some dinner in Baldur's Gate. I'm going to play Baldur's Gate tonight until I can't see straight, and then get back to this in the morning. Let's bring up the OBS window. Whoops, I didn't want to make it bigger. I just wanted to move it. So, yep, let's go to do the thanks. So thanks for joining, everyone. I hope that you have a productive week in any creative endeavors that you are working on. And if you haven't already downloaded the game or joined the Discord, please join the Discord and download the game. And, you know, consider becoming a patron if you're not already. or haven't already donated tons of money to me. And otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining. It's been a really good conversation, so thanks. See you next time.